Okay, final short video. This one is going to make your jaw drop, and I guess it makes us pretty angry as well as to what takes place. The politicians are supposed to be representing us and getting paid for doing a job. They only just focus on the re-election, on I guess self-worth, self-interest. That's all that happens. And unfortunately, this is fed by the media. At the moment, all we have is these debates. Who's the best person at debating? Who's making the biggest promises for the future? The best part is we have a track record there of the current government. Okay, there's been 9 years there. And I guess what we really should be saying is, well, how do you all feel? What's the cost of living? How much is food? How much has things gone up? What's the cost of petrol? Okay, do you know anyone who's unemployed? Do you know anyone who's actually doesn't have a house or can't afford anything? So at the moment, we have the working poor. But anyway, that's what we should be focusing on, what the track record is, what's happened, and also the sheer wastage by all parties on these stupid elections. Okay, to start off with, now the current government, of course, when they're in government, they can pretty much spend what they want on advertising. They can pretend that it's actually in public interest, but it's actually always about promoting them. And up until the day the election is called, and they're very reluctant to call the election because, of course, from that moment, they have to spend their own party's money. However, their party's money. Now let's get back to that. Now the actual election costs, the proposed or estimated costs this year will be something like $500 million. That's $500 million, okay, to actually run this. In 2019, the actual cost was $372 million, okay? Now all these ads that are actually on TV by this guy here. Now, of course, his company donated, or political donation, tax deductible, $88 million this year. And of course, I think last year it was $60 to $80 million was spent, and the previous election on TV advertising. But the reality is, it works out for him because, of course, it is tax deductible. It is company donations. It's not his personal money. And the reality is, when he first started in 2013, he was worth almost $1 billion. Since then, it's continued to actually increase thanks to the generosity of the people in government. And of course, now he's supposed to be worth about $16 to $18 billion, that is. So yeah, things are going well. So why not spend a few bucks, pretend like you actually are a viable alternative, give the votes to him. Okay, now also what happens is after the election, believe it or not, political parties get paid for the votes they receive. So the primary votes, where they got number one, so if they get over 4% of the votes, they receive $2.90 per vote. And as of this election, they're also going to receive a $10,000 on top of that. Now, what that means is you, the taxpayer, paid out in 2019 $70 million simply back to the political parties so they can actually put up all those posters, do those stupid TV ads, and also hand out brochures and all the rest of it. So we're paying for them. Yeah, we actually pay for them. They get paid for doing this stuff. Okay, now down to the actual wages growth. As we know, wages have basically stayed the same. Nothing's happened with them. Inflation's gone through the roof. Cost of living. Pollies are okay though. Now theirs goes up on average about 3, 4, 5, 6%. You can actually have a look on the Electoral Commission website. But their base wage is $211,000. You might want to look back 10 years ago in 2012. They actually gave themselves, well, they didn't give themselves, but it was actually, they were allowed to have a 30% pay increase. On top of that, they get their air travel, car, phone, office, staff, all of these things piled up. And also they get an allowance for every day they're actually in Canberra. So what that means is if they don't want to spend the several $100s on that, they can actually just buy a little unit and pocket the rest themselves. So anyway, a few bits and pieces there. There's far more there, but really what it means is your vote does count and you can actually make a difference. Just don't be manipulated by the people in power. So finally, just remember, throw away your how to vote card. Simply put the one you want first and second, and the ones you don't want, put them last, and hopefully there'll be some sort of a change.